Hi everyone. So welcome to our semester business class, and this is going to be about transmedia marketing. So I'm really excited to get started, and this is actually the textbook that we're going to be using, Transmedia Marketing by Ann Zeiser. You should go ahead and go follow her on LinkedIn and Instagram, etc., etc. She's awesome. She already sent me an email and she's super excited that we're using her textbook. So I'm excited to be using it as well. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so today I want to go through what the 10 classes are. Class 1, that's right now. We're going to do our introduction, and then we're going to talk about how media makers, that's you guys, are also media marketers. And then also today we'll do Class 2, and that's on marketing planning. You'll notice then class 3 is marketing planning part 2, and that's been edited because one of our classes was going to be taught by Silka, who you remember from the fall. She's an Instagram influencer, and she was going to do part 2 to her Instagram workshop. But we're going to push that to the fall, so you'll see her again in the fall. Okay? So, Class 4 will be about the creative process. Class 5 is about influence, the influencers. We'll talk about press and publicity. Class 6 will be about A-list vehicles. Class 7, 8, and 9 will be about reaching your public through visual expression, advertising, and digital media and going viral. And Class 10 is on finding success. So due for today would be 2 case studies. One of them is relatively short and one of them is much more in depth. So the first one is AI, artificial intelligence's the beast, participatory tribal audiences, and that is in your syllabus and workbook as Appendix A, and that's in your Dropbox. The second one is Martin Scorsese Presents the Blues, and that one is through a link which I've provided here and also in your syllabus. So our class goals, we'll do a course overview, we'll look at the syllabus, then we're going to talk about what is transmedia marketing, talk about marketing planning, and at the very end of class 2, we'll have a group call and we'll talk about the case studies that were assigned for today. So the first thing we want to do is take a look at the syllabus. This you can find in your Dropbox. Okay. We will be talking about Honey Boo Boo. Here's your table of contents, and this gives you the overview of the semester. And you'll see here Appendix A is the beast. That was due for today. All right, here's your syllabus. So transmedia marketing is a class that guides you through the rapidly changing world of entertainment and media marketing. We will integrate storytelling and marketing content creation across multiple media platforms in an attempt to harness the power of the audience to shape and promote your story. Your instructor is me. The exam is 5 ECTS points, and it will be a combination of a group exam, an individual exam, a written exam, an oral exam. And you have 3 deliverables, which are production pitch for your overall project, that's your TV miniseries, a marketing plan for your overall project, again for your TV miniseries, and then you'll do short pitches and marketing plans for your other 2 secondary transmedia projects. Okay, the exam details. In a group, you're going to write the marketing plan for your overall project. In a group, you're also going to pitch to a group of executives. And then individually, you will contribute to the group marketing plan and also write and pitch your secondary transmedia projects. So here's another list of the deliverables for your exams for this semester, for this class. You already know your roles. We've been doing that now for a couple months. Required reading assignments. So for class 1, you have 2 case studies due. You're definitely welcome to follow along in the Transmedia textbook. So in each of the PowerPoints, I write in the note section what chapters we're going through. So if you want a more in-depth reading experience and engagement with the textbook, feel free to do that, okay? A copy of that is also in your Dropbox. Okay, so class 2, your reading assignment is the case study for Mad Men. It's also an appendix in this document, your syllabus and workbook. Class 3, I'm sorry, I need to go back. Right. So when I'm talking about classes here, class 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I'm actually talking about clusters of classes because each of our classes will be taught in twos. So class 1 and 2, that's the first one here. So you have those 2 case studies. Then you'll have class 3 and 4, and for class 3 and 4, that's number 2 here under reading assignments. So you'll have Mad Men due for class 3 and 4. Then for class 5 and 6, that's the third cluster of classes, you'll read the case study for the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. Then for the fourth cluster of classes, which are class 7 and 8, you'll read the case study for Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, Watch and Sniff Premiere Event. And for our final fifth cluster of classes, class 9 and 10, you'll read the case study for Prometheus, Blending Fictional and Real Worlds. So here are the dates and times and also the calendar for our class, for our course, I should say. Classes 1 and 2 are together, classes 3 and 4, classes 5 and 6, classes 7, 8, and classes 9 and 10. Now, you may notice that the dates have changed because we inserted a reading week into our calendar between our practicum course and our business course. So we're starting on today, Monday, May 4th. Your next class will be May 6th. Your next cluster of classes will be Thursday, May 7th. And then the following week, we'll meet again on Tuesday, May 12th, for our classes 7 and 8. And then our final cluster of classes will be on Thursday, May 14th, classes 9 and 10. So here are some of the class details. I've gone through this already on our PowerPoint. And of course, further reading is Transmedia Marketing from Film to TV Games and Digital Media. And that is available in the Dropbox. And so here we are in our introduction, and you can use this workbook at your leisure, to follow along with the information that I'm presenting in the PowerPoint. You can also take notes in the PowerPoint itself. Here we go through all of the classes one at a time. There's room for notes. Of course, originally this was meant to be printed out so that you could so that you could color and take notes and doodle in class, which we're not doing right now. There's class 9 and 10. And then, of course, at the very end, we have the appendices, and this starts with the case study for The Beast. Again, you can find this textbook in your Dropbox, so if you don't want to read it in this document, you can actually open the textbook itself, and you can read it there, okay? And otherwise, you can just scroll through this and read it. It's not the best scan job, but there it is. There's Appendix B for Mad Men. So that pretty much, shows you what we're doing for the semester. And let's get back over to our PowerPoint then, and let's get to some of this information. So you'll notice that I uploaded a video for Annoying Orange last week. And Annoying Orange is like really annoying. So if you haven't taken a look at that, you should. We're going to probably talk about Annoying Orange just a little bit. Okay. So in this section, let me go over to the PowerPoint. In this section, we're going to talk about, what is transmedia marketing. We're going to go over the Holy Grail, our goal, and then our ultimate goal. Let me bring you some text-heavy slides coming up. Transmedia itself is the new buzzword, and producers want it, but the question is, do you understand how adding media platforms to your project fits into the overall story arc or the audience experience? And some of you have come into SGS thinking that you want to write a book or write another book or write a screenplay, for example. And maybe you came in thinking that you only wanted to write like one document, one project for your bachelor's thesis. And that's cool. If you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. This semester is about how you would take that master document or the mothership text and turn it into a transmedia project. You don't have to, but I want you guys to be aware of this, especially well, a lot of you have ideas that can be expanded vastly into transmedia. And that's up to you if you want to be the person who, maintains control over your story world or not. But this sort of group collaboration and group project this semester, it's forming bonds amongst you, and you'll take these bonds and these relationships out into the real world. I was talking to your showrunner yesterday about AFI, which is the American Film Institute in Los Angeles, and they also have small classes, and the students, collaborate on their film projects as students. And then when they go out into the real world and become professional filmmakers, guess who they collaborate with? Yeah, they collaborate with each other. And so you'll see showrunners and auteurs, if you will, like Quentin Tarantino, using the same actors over and over and the same production crew, for example. And, these are bonds that formed while they were in school. So this experiment for you guys this semester will hopefully lead to future connections and future projects that you might want to work on together. Okay? So, the core of transmedia is actually something that you guys are already doing. You're engaging audiences with your narrative using various media. And you guys are sending me every week your update for your social media spreadsheet for tracking your social media stats. You're doing this already. You're already engaging audiences beyond the main mothership text that you're creating. So for a project to be transmedia, you have to invest in it, tinker with it, and learn from it. Transmedia marketing is a holistic content creation approach, both storytelling and marketing, simultaneously across multiple platforms. It's part of a thoughtfully designed plan to achieve enunciated goals with key audiences. So, we talk about social media has sort of ushered in a mindset of engaging audiences with media and entertainment properties with additional media platforms. So, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram, LinkedIn, to name a few, and only a few. A fully transmedia approach simply expands that universe of platforms to film, TV, radio, books, publications, games, online experiences, mobile experiences, toys, live installations, events, ad campaigns, and much more. The socialization of content has blurred the lines between entertainment and its marketing. Media content can both advance the story and market the story. So, in this new world order, that makes you both the media maker and the media marketer. In this content saturated world, you must provide media on ramps, and that makes you transmedia. So, what do I mean when I say media on ramps? I love that visual actually. Like, think of the highway, as your main text, the mothership text, and like all of these on ramps joining the highway. And I'm wondering if you guys have experienced that. Like, what are some of the on ramps that you've been exposed to that have sort of brought you on board to a mothership text? And this can be done through advertising. It can be done through trailers. It can be done through various events online, games, and things like that that are happening all around you. So, try to remember how foreign your social media platforms were when you first created them. So, all of you started your author platforms in your first semester, and you started with Facebook, Instagram, your website, Twitter. Some of you are also working on Tumblr and Pinterest and LinkedIn and YouTube and Wattpad, Bookstagram, um, Goodreads. That's probably all I can remember for now. But after you get used to these social media platforms, it becomes second nature. You become, an agile content creator and marketer on that platform. And you can be just as facile and compelling on other media platforms. So, on air, online, in print, and on the go. And so, we have these sort of three questions depending on what your interest in transmedia might be. If you write novels, for example, why do you need to understand games and other aspects of transmedia? Well, because your premise might be suitable for an interactive gaming experience. So, of course, it's great for you to know more about the gaming industry and gaming narrative. If you make movie trailers, why do you need to understand social media platforms? Because your trailer could be the linchpin of a mysterious social teaser campaign to promote the film. What if you're a publicist? Why do you need to understand the basics of story? Because to secure press and blogger coverage, you must craft compelling narratives about your media project. And, that brings me to another point when it comes to marketing and advertising. Marketing and advertising, is all about narrative. It's all about developing stories and connecting with audiences on an emotional level, ethos, logos, and pathos, right? So even when you're studying marketing and advertising, you're learning to put together a story. And that story is so compelling to audiences that it causes them to do something, to buy a product, for example, to watch a movie, for example, um, if you've done it successfully. So it's worth it. Um, Embracing multiple platforms delivers huge rewards. Transmedia connects your audiences with deep participatory experiences. And you want your audiences to have these deep emotional connections to the narrative and the story that you're writing. Um, I know that I've had this conversation with the second year students already because they develop their marketing plans for their own enterprises, um, their empires, if you will. And, we talked about okay, I'm really good on Twitter, for example, or I'm really good on Instagram, for example. And maybe you're gaining followers by the week, in the 20s, in the hundreds, I don't know. And that's great, but you have to understand that Instagram only reaches one very small part of the market. It's a small demographic. And even though, um, I guess at your age, a lot of you, right, like in your 20s, let's say early, whatever, in your 20s, around that age, a lot of you are or have developed, a dislike for Facebook. But I need to tell you this, that as entrepreneurs, as artist entrepreneurs, you need to start using Facebook as your marketing tool. Facebook actually reaches, 85% more people in the market. So get on Facebook, don't discount it, start using it. It is one big marketing database. So I not only encourage you to use it, but I sort of require you to use it. Okay. So basically, this translates into audiences' active engagement um, with your content, but also their co-creation of your content. So not just, in terms of fan fiction, but also in terms of having a participatory experience with your main text. Uh, Audiences find meaning in this participation and they connect to it personally. And this translates to audience loyalty. And this means that they will be ambassadors for your project. And, building audience ambassadorship for your project is the holy grail of branding and marketing and engagement. So, our goal, it takes a 21st century holistic approach to content creation across multiple media platforms using both storytelling and marketing. So, this class, excuse me, this class teaches media marketers or culture creators, as Christina taught you guys last semester in her socioeconomic linguistics class, workshop, master class. So this class teaches media marketers and culture creators like you the fundamentals of developing a sound marketing and content plan through strategic research, target audience identification, goal setting, and branding. And it demonstrates how to execute key elements of your plan, from publicity, events, partnerships, and advertising to online content and video, social media, and interactive media. Our ultimate goal, is to teach you how to imagine unlimited storytelling and marketing possibilities for your media project. And at the end of our two classes, our cluster of classes today, we're going to talk about, The Beast and Martin Scorsese Presents the Blues. And you'll see that both of these, and then of course the other four case studies that we'll study, are utilizing this idea of, the ultimate goal, both the goal and the ultimate goal, and connecting with audiences so that they become ambassadors for the brand. Okay, it's valuable to apply cumulative insight through appreciation and inspiration and survey other media and transmedia projects. So using these case studies, you'll be examining like other projects and their odysseys while they've navigated various opportunities and challenges. And this can motivate you, as you set out to market your own product. So specifically, we want to pay attention to, marketing outreach and the engagement plan, how the case studies use primary and secondary research, how they identify their key audiences, how they have determined their brand essence, and if and how they have set measurable goals and objectives for evaluation. Okay, so we're going to stop there. No, we're not. We're not going to stop there. I'm sorry. This is lecture 1B, but you are welcome to press pause and take a break, okay? So lecture 1B, this is media makers equals media marketers. And so in this section, we want to talk about the legitimization of a DIY era of making media and also media marketing. So we have these 3 points that we're going to talk about. Media makers equals media marketers, how to be transmedia, how to harness your inner marketer. So there's a creator named Dane Bodekheimer, and he began making videos on his 8mm camcorder. He was a film student at the time when he uploaded his first YouTube video in 2009 called Annoying Orange. He started a series that garnered 2 billion views. And that also got him a series on Cartoon Network in 2012. But it also led to video games, t-shirts, toys, costumes, and it built a franchise or an empire worth millions of dollars. But more than this, this breakout success on YouTube signaled a key inflection point in the 21st century media landscape. And this is the legitimization of the DIY era of media making and media marketing. So, yeah, in this section, we'll talk more about technology being the great equalizer, the new culture that has developed in which people are makers and therefore they are also marketers. For example, TLC's Next Great Baker or the Great British Bake Off. And this means that you become your project's CEO. Yeah, so let's take a look now at, just a little bit of history. And you guys know I love to overuse this example, but it's just because I love it so much. Media and entertainment weren't always accessible. They were tightly controlled by studios, production companies, and publishers. Media was, back then, distributed in regimented and sequential windows, a time frame of distribution on a given media channel that's carefully orchestrated to leverage audience demand for the content and profit from its consumption. Um, I'm sure you guys, aren't so young that you can't remember, like waiting for your favorite series episode to come out, every Monday at 7 o'clock or every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, for example. And so the media, the publishers, and so on and so forth, the production companies and studios, they were in charge of when you got to watch the show that you loved so much. And of course, prime time is right after the evening news. So a lot of shows, were right after dinner, right after the evening news, and then you get together with the family, hypothetically, and you watch an hour or two of television before you go to bed. Old school Hollywood also judiciously managed the public images of their films and their actors. Even it was like even written into their contracts. But also the interesting thing is that, the entertainment press was complicit with this. And they would make a ton of money on studio approved articles and staged photos, as well as strategically designed outings for actors at public events, for example. And I have these images here of Cary Grant from Alfred Hitchcock's film Suspicion from 1941. And, the husband here is walking up the staircase with a glass of milk for his wife. And, in the story, both, well, yeah, the original and the film. In the story, he's bringing up this glass of milk and it's poisoned, and his wife drinks it. And so he's a murderer. Um, and but this is Cary Grant, and Cary Grant, the studios did not want Hitchcock to make him look like a monster, which is what Alfred Hitchcock wanted to do. And so, because it was written into Cary Grant's contract that he had to be, this charismatic, handsome actor who audiences loved, admired, respected, and wanted to throw their bras at. The studio shut down a lot of Hitchcock's ideas on how to present him as monstrous. So what Hitchcock did, because he had to adhere to the contracts and the studio rules, he solved this problem through lighting. And what happens here is, on the left, first you see him, as just a dark entity. And he's carrying this glowing glass of milk. And throughout that shot, as he gets, closer to the screen, you can notice that the lighting is such that it's shooting down in a certain way that makes his eyes look completely black. It makes his nose extend. It gives him like a point in his hairline. And so the lighting itself makes him look like a demon. And, Alfred Hitchcock was really good with technology that he had available. Every time he was shooting a new film, he was pretty famous for using new techniques with new technology. And this is one of the things that he was able to do. And maybe it's not that big of a deal now, but at the time it was pretty cutting edge that he, just through the use of lighting, could make an actor look, like a monster. So anyway, the point is, in this top-down controlled world, the audience sat at a great psychological distance from media makers. And that has, changed. Modern audiences, this is what we want to look at now. In the past few decades, changing technologies have stripped much of that control and shifted the power over to the audiences. So, broadband viewing enabled audiences to consume film, TV, and video anywhere, creating, this TV everywhere phenomenon. There's also second screen watching. So, people aren't just sitting in their living rooms, hypothetically sitting in their living rooms after dinner with their families, watching a primetime show. They can watch it on their phones, they can watch it on their tablets, they can also watch it on another television in another room. OTT consumption, which is over the top consumption, that's led to Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu Plus, and Pandora, things like that, through internet connected devices. But also, there's been cord cutting. This is downgrading or eliminating cable or satellite TV subscriptions because of the cost, convenience, or redundancy. Programmers, audiences, researchers, and advertisers, struggle to track and monetize time shifted viewing and, resultant in binge watching. So that's great news for you guys, actually, because audiences now are binge watching. And so all of these streaming service and streaming providers, they can't keep up with audience demand because of this binging phenomenon. And so they're looking for content. So what else did I want to say here for that? So, we went from network TV to home video, DVD and Blu-ray, to pay-per-view, to video on demand, to download to own. Word of mouth. So audiences engage with content now in their own time. This is also from their own personal spheres, be it the sofa, the subway, their bedroom, wherever they are. And audiences, quote unquote, lean in, relating to a media entity's world and linking it to their own world. On social media, they interact directly with, for example, characters, actors, and with their own circle of friends, like Facebook groups. And word of mouth endorsements from friends, family, and celebrities carry more weight than industry experts now. So, because of this disruption, there are huge upsides, which is really exciting for you guys coming into this, literary and transmedia industry at the age you're at. Technology has redefined the audience. You can't fit audiences into simple demographic boxes anymore, which is also so cool. And uh, like other things like Amazon like algorithms. Audiences' interactions and influence on the timing, the message, the storyline, and acceptance of media propel the marketing of media and entertainment today. So we're very audience focused now. Film used to be, the superior medium, but its superiority over TV and other platforms is gone now. And TV is enjoying a renaissance thanks to film talent shifting over to television. And, there's this new age of creative risk taking. Um, and then we have top-down power structure, like that has crumbled. There's no more studio. Well, I guess no, you still see it on HBO though, don't you? So HBO Nordic still drips content. And I don't know about you guys, but it's so frustrating. Um, when you have someone like someone as if it's a human, when you have an organization like Netflix, for example, and when they release a show, they release the whole season. And so you can binge watch it and watch it in your own time. When you switch over to HBO and, you're like one episode a week again, I mean, that's frustrating. I don't know. I'm curious. Do you guys engage with that? Like, will you still sort of wait every week for your show to air? Or for me, for example, I won't watch it. Like, I'll wait until that whole show, is up, like all 10 episodes or whatever. And then I will watch it in my own time, in my own space, at my leisure. Um, okay. And lastly, this has led to having to learn a holistic approach to storytelling, also to genres, platforms, funding, audiences, distribution, and marketing. So this is super cool. Looking at history, the maker and marketer culture. So innovations vastly influence economics, politics, and culture. So in the 1800s, we had the Industrial Revolution. The 1900s, we had the Technological Revolution. And the 2000s, and this is so interesting, we have the Maker Revolution. Maker culture is so prevalent that collaborative maker spaces and groups, like we have in Tlaykenton Makerspace, from fine art to robotics, have basically cropped up worldwide. And I think maybe I told you guys this, but Makerspace at Tlaykenton got like, I want to say something like 18 million kroner to expand Makerspace and to put mini makerspaces into all the schools in the area. Like it is, it's the hot thing. Um, Audiences are the entertainment now. Audiences make their own content. Um, Yeah. So when you've posted like a short video of your dog chasing his tail, and you share it with your friends, you've basically produced, distributed, and marketed that media content. Easy, right? Um, DreamWorks has this thing called Animation's Awesomeness TV division on YouTube. And it's basically the forefront of this kind of DIY culture. And it has a network of teens and tweens creating their own and consuming each other's content, basically on curated YouTube channels. Awesomeness TV partnered with Hearst to create branded 17 magazine. Do you guys know 17, the magazine? They have a channel. So they got together to brand that and manage 17's multi-channel network, MCN, content that's basically created by girls who read the magazine. So media content is now being made from the bottom up. The role of producer and audience member has actually merged. Audiences market media as much as they make it. Transmedia is storytelling across multiple forms of media, with each element making distinctive contributions to a user's understanding of the story universe, including where user actions affect the experience of the content across multiple platforms. After Justin Bieber tweeted this, the song from Carly Rae Jepsen basically catapulted to #1 on Billboard's Hot 100. So with Bieber's endorsement and his huge reach, Carly Rae Jepsen had a deal with Schoolboy Records within 6 months. So you guys want to be aware of doing two things. You want to create audience awareness and then transform the awareness into engagement. So where your audience shares, where they participate. Is your reel or your website a promotional vehicle or part of the actual story? That's another question to ask yourselves. It could be both. It could promote your story or your mothership, but it could also be part of the actual story. By sharing your short video on social media and online sites like your website, here you're also being both content creator and the distributor and promoter. So you want to be your project CEO. Being a good leader is finding and inspiring smart, passionate, talented people. A good leader is appreciative of all of their employees' ideas and efforts, whether they are successful or not. Many content creators use fundraising platforms to unlock special content. You are responsible for your project's creation, financing, distribution, and marketing. And then PMD, producer of marketing and distribution, is a recognized title in the indie film world, and it's becoming more so in the studio world. 10,000 films made every year, out of 10,000 films made every year, 1,000 of them secure theatrical releases and receive significant marketing support from the distributor. I'm talking about indie films here. So what you want to do as your project CEO is build this environment around you where you're surrounded by, people who you work well with, whose work you respect, and whose ideas are wacky enough for you to take a chance on them, whether they succeed or fail. So, strategic marketing plans. Season 2 of Dexter, there's an episode called The Dark Defender, and the crime scene was shot in a comic book store. Comic book characters, illusions, and art, peppered the episode, paying homage to comic book traditions. And seeing the social buzz among comic super fans, Showtime invited those, brand ambassadors into Dexter's story world. So this episode, The Dark Defender, inspired a line of Dexter comic books and other like comics inspired content. And this transmedia response activated a new platform with more Dexter branded content. And it served like this philosophically aligned audience. And, it actually created a new revenue stream. So, planning your marketing strategically and honing your instincts and moving across all platforms are attributes that are both, inborn and can also be taught. And here are some things when you're looking at a strategic marketing plan. You want to look at the environment, the established goals. You want to conduct relevant research, identify your audiences, position your project in the marketplace, develop a creative mantle for it, identify traditional and new media platforms and tactics, and then you want to evaluate what worked and what didn't. Okay, 2 more slides. You want to harness your inner marketer. So marketing 101. What's the difference, I guess, between marketing and promotion? Marketing is fun and scientific, and if marketing is done well, it looks really easy. So the difference between marketing versus promotion: marketing answers the question why. It communicates to audiences the value of your project, whereas promotion answers the question of how. It announces that your project exists and how to find it, like posting a link. There are these 4 marketing P's, which we will engage with throughout this class: product, price, place, and promotion. So product is examining the appropriateness of the product for its market. It looks at the quality and the key attributes, its target markets, and its competition. Price is about the audience's assessment of the value and benefit vis-a-vis the cost. Place is about where and when it will be available to audiences. In the case of media and entertainment, it's about its distribution. And then promotion. Promotion is about telegraphing it to audiences. So under that subheading of promotion, we have advertising or paid media. And paid media or advertising is planned and it's purchased. So a lot of production companies, put in a lot of money towards ad campaigns. I'll get into that later. Public relations, this is publicity from your media relations efforts. So like reviews, that's a quote unquote earned media and it's free. And then the third one here, is owned media. It's the content that you create for your project. So a website, a blog, social media platforms, video, infographics. And push and pull marketing. Push and pull marketing, is based on the principle of supply and demand. Push marketing is when producers or suppliers push product or content to the audiences. So, for example, an ad, a teaser poster, a video, or a link to a website. Pull marketing is when audiences demand product of content to fulfill their needs. Clicking on a link or conducting a search on Google, because of buzz or interest. And then lastly, the purchase funnel in traditional marketing shows the process of how marketing and promotion move consumers from first contact to purchase. So it looks like an inverted pyramid that starts with awareness. So this is when the audience first becomes aware of the show, for example, and they form an opinion about it. Does it look like a genre that they would engage with? Then they have a phase of consideration. This could be something on Netflix where there's like the option to add it to your watch list. So you click on, add it to your watch list, and that means that you've transitioned into preference. And then when you actually watch the show, that's your purchase, or when you know, buy the film or purchase the item. There are a lot of really cool movie marketing campaigns out there, and they're just really interesting to look at. So, the Blair Witch Project, Why So Serious, and Paranormal Activity are a few examples. I'm going to just talk about the Blair Witch Project, and then we'll take a break. But, at the film festival where this premiered, they hung up these posters, and they said, hung them all around town, missing. On October 21st, 1994, Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard, and Michael Williams hiked into Maryland's Black Hills forest to shoot a documentary film on a local legend, the Blair Witch. They were never heard from again. 1 year later, their footage was found documenting the students' 5-day journey through the Black Hills forest and capturing the terrifying events that led up to their disappearance. So this was brand new at the time, posting, these pictures that these students were missing, but that they had found their footage. And this was actually the beginning of that trend, the found footage trend. And now you see movies and shows all over the place that incorporate found footage. The joke, of course, was on all of the audiences at the film festival because these three filmmakers were alive and well. This was, a marketing ploy, makes it sound negative, but because it worked and it was so successful. Paranormal Activity, that was actually really interesting because I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but the ads actually were the camera focused on the audience watching the film. So all you saw were audiences with the camera itself was on night vision. So you saw audiences through night vision goggles and their like terrified reactions to scenes from Paranormal Activity. And they used that to find out from audiences if audiences would demand another Paranormal Activity film. And of course, once they realized that audiences were demanding another sequel, they went ahead and made a few more. And of course, Why So Serious? That's the one with Joker, where audiences engaged online in a game that helped steal a school bus. And then when the film came out, the first scene is the school bus smashing into the bank where they had this bank heist. And so audiences, when they saw the film, realized that they had actually helped Joker steal this bus. So these are, really fun, interesting marketing campaigns that, like, years later, right? 20 years later for Blair Witch, um, they still stick with us as, these like brand new innovative ways to market content. I'm wondering if you guys might create the next Blair Witch marketing campaign for your semester project. That could be super fun to see like the ideas that you guys come up with. Anyway, that's about it for the first class, and we'll take a break now and 15 minutes and come back and we'll have class 2. So I'll see you then, okay? Take a break, grab some coffee, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye.